Hi there. Thanks for coming on another test drive with me. I really enjoy building these trucks, and I have a long history with the Series 1 or 3100 Chevrolet 5-window Thriftmaster. I used to, when I called my car antics a hobby, I built several of these in my garage, starting when I was about 17. And I always loved them, but I was always kind of disappointed because no matter how beautiful they were, when everything was said and done and I actually took it out and drove it, it just didn't do anything for me. They're quite archaic. I suppose if you're that guy, that's fine and dandy, but I'm not that guy. So over the years with ICON, the 5-window was always in the back of my mind. And one day I decided, after speaking to Craig Morrison at Art Morrison, our chassis partner, discovering that he also loved this truck, he and I decided to move forward, and we started with Craig's personal truck, which has become quite famous, and he did all the chassis engineering, so it made my life easy. All I had to do was hop on his coattails on the chassis. And then another longtime love of mine is Raymond Loewy. He's a great designer. He's actually the designer who coined the term industrial designer. You know Raymond Loewy's work, whether you realize it or not. He designed the Coca-Cola logo. He designed Air Force One. He designed the interior of the Concorde. He designed, I think it was the Shell Oil logo, Lucky Strikes, on and on and on. He's an icon. So I got to thinking, why not combine these two things that I love? And let's do the Thriftmaster from the perspective of what if Raymond Loewy had been on the design team? What decisions would he have made? So to kind of give you an idea where I'm going with this, let's take Chevrolet in 1947, pickup truck. What did the market want in a pickup truck? Strong, simple, and cheap. Now, if Raymond Loewy had been involved, strong, yes, no problem. Clarity of purpose and utility, certainly. Cheap? Not necessarily. So things like the headliner on these trucks originally, they're cardboard. The door panels, cardboard. Armrests, plastic, stuff like that. So we kind of did a resto mod modern vintage mashup, and all the aesthetic components that I designed and integrated into the truck, like our front hood ornament, our side emblems, the interior door handles, the seat hardware and recline knob, the armrests, the dash, reverse lights, tail lights, seats, pattern, all the knobs and switches were all based on that premise of what would Raymond have done. The other thing that's fun with all of our projects, obviously, is infusing modern utility into the vintage aesthetic. So if you take the stock dash of a 47 to 53 Chevy truck, it has a really cool kind of deco ribbed panel. Now, back in the day, all that had to do was house an ashtray. That was it. Well, with my work, we were doing modern in-dash climate control system. We're doing reverse camera. We're doing CarPlay. We're doing voice to text and Siri and all that good stuff. So what I did was take the look of that panel, but then we CAD designed it so that it facilitates all those modern functions. So you tap the panel in front of the audio system, and then that door articulates down on gas shocks. And that's kind of fun. We actually use RC, like remote control off-road truck shocks, because you can tune them by how much gas pressure you put in them. Kind of fun detail. And then as that actuates all the way down, it has magnets that control the rattles. So that gives you access to CarPlay and all of that functionality. We designed a drop-down dash panel, and we used a bead roller to roll the beads that emulate that dash line that allow us to put lights, wipers, fan, vent, temperature, and then a 12-volt power outlet. The big V knob on the left-hand side of that, underneath the ignition switch, is actually the cowl vent. And the cowl vent actually works great on these trucks. It's kind of a cool detail. You'll also notice on the glove box side, we use the same apparatus that articulates for the series system. For the gauges, we worked with our buddies at Dakota Digital. Great team, great product, super reliable, just no issue, except I'm kind of a geek, as we know, and I kind of wanted to do my aesthetic. Well, what's cool about working with Dakota is they let me do just that. So they give me their CAD files so that I don't screw up the positioning of everything, because I can't mess with that. And then I designed my own fonts and indices and integrated the lizard, and we have control over the LED. In this case, we did the red LED, which is my favorite, because obviously at night it's like aerospace, there's no glare. So when you first look at these gauges, they're analog and they're pretty straightforward. You've got fuel, volts, oil pressure, temp, and of course you've got speedo and you've got tach. But there's two little hidden momentary switches underneath the dash, and when you push those, there's one for each gauge, it changes the functionality of the little indicator screen at the bottom, the little LED deal. So you can have that give you a digital readout of speed or tach. You can do volts and oil and blah, blah, blah. You can also do quarter mile, which is kind of fun, and you can also do 0 to 60, which I just discovered this morning. That's good fun. And you also have check engine light, high beams, and all the other various things that you need, but they all come up backlit through the face circuit board, so it just keeps it really nice and vintage. For the steering wheel on these trucks, we use actually a Tri-5 Chevy Bel Air wheel, but it's scaled down, so it's not the big school bus monster of the stock one, which gives you a little bit more gut room, and these cabins are kind of tight, so that's good. Also, with our modern rack and pinion steering, you don't want a big ass school bus wheel, so we're running a 20-to-1 rack, so it works out really nice. We take that wheel apart from the supplier, we upgrade the surface quality, we wrap it by hand in the bison hide, and then we nickel plate it and brush it, and then we add the ICON lizard there in the middle. The windows are power, but we designed those so that they look dead stock. Now, granted, I took some liberties with the design of the handle and the knob, but all you do is you tap it down to actuate down and tap up to actuate up. It's kind of fun. Door handles are dead stock, but they do go to a modern bear claw style latch for a more definitive door function. All the glass in the truck is smoked and tempered, so that's not a film. It's within the laminate of the glass, which is nice. For the headliner on the truck, we do ICON TR, which I'm a big fan of. We use it in a lot of our trucks. And then the seat comes from Glide Engineering. It's a really nice closed cell foam pad. And I redesigned the paddle for the recline and the hinge point cover. So again, I kind of geeked out and kind of went deco on that. The seat has some other functionality that's quite nice. It looks like a bench, but it holds you more like a bucket. You've got this articulating center console, which is nice. Also, the seat bottom, you can release it and actuate it, and it tilts forward 90 degrees. So in this case, I gobbled up most of that space for electronics, but you can use it for additional storage. There's also room behind the seats for storage. Speaking of all the space I gobbled up, the stereo in this truck rocks the house. We work with our friends at Audison, so it's a Bit1 Audison digital audio system. So that's 1 amp and only 3 speakers, but rivals any luxury new car audio system. Keeps it nice and simple, but beautiful tone and tons of bass and a lot of user interface control, which is really nice. Another little modern touch, the rearview mirrors. So the rearview mirrors look like the old school Pete mirrors, but when you turn on your turn signal, they have a little LED arrow that shows up from behind the mirror glass, which is just kind of a fun detail. So I keep changing the head units on these trucks. I think this one's my favorite so far. Next we're going to try the Pioneer systems, but this is an Alpine head unit designed to be dedicated to an iPhone. I love it. Super simple, no bogus dancing dolphins or all the crap a lot of these audio systems put in, and it's like it's working just hard enough, but not like overthinking things. Sometimes they drive me nuts, like, you have exceeded the speed limit. Yeah, that's what I have a speedometer for. So I don't know, the Pioneer, unless I can get around that crap, might irk me. What do you guys think with CarPlay? Do you have a specific head unit that you've got good experience with? If so, I'd love to hear about it. This system's really nice though. It does everything I want, and then we integrated a reverse camera, which we hid in a valance directly under the tailgate, and that works out really nice. It's nice to have reverse camera in this truck because you really can't see that well. Another thing is height. If you've been following my Thrift Masters, you may remember the last one, which was pretty slammed. I mean, granted, we did that because we went out and autocrossed it with Optima at the Top Streetcar Challenge. But in reality, day to day, it's a pain in the ass. So when we build these trucks, we give the client freedom of choice on the static ride height that they want their truck to be. In this case, we went fairly tall, still significantly lower than stock. Still has a nice mild rake and stance to it, but now it's set up so it's just higher than those standard parking lot concrete berms. There's nothing worse than a custom trick nickel plated brush front bumper and haven't had your coffee yet and you pull in the morning and that just sucks. So I think this is a good balance. For wheels, we're running our Circle Racing wheels. We work with those guys a lot. So these are 18-inch. They're 6061 CNC one-piece billet. And then you'll notice on the hubcaps, those are acid-etched spun stainless that, again, we nickel plate after the acid etch. The acid etch is really cool, though. What it lets us do is give the effect of a stamped piece without the cost of stamping. The acid eats into the top surface of the metal. We also do that on the tailgate of the trucks, but it's quite subtle. You can only see it in the right light because it's tone on tone. Also on the tailgate, we got rid of those gacky chains. These stock trucks have chains that just go constantly, beat the piss out of the paint too. So we went to a stainless elbow hinge, and then we have hidden on the blind side knurled latches. So you just finger actuate that on both sides and the tailgate rotates down. And then you don't have to listen to all that nonsense all the time. For the wiper system, again, it looks stock, but it's not. We're running a modern 3-stage single wiper system with Heim linkage, and that we've done in partnership with our friends at Newport Engineering. Good product, all American made, and keeps the look stock, but the stock wipers on these trucks, man, do they suck. In fact, they were vacuum. So when you come to a stoplight, they kind of go, you'd have to idle up to get them to go again. But that's just another one of those things that makes icons icons, in that, like, I kind of geek out and rethink all of those details to make it a more modern experience that we can all live with. So obviously, as with all of our projects, when the body is metalwork complete and spin painted and is out of the oven, we put it on a rotisserie, we invert it, and then we coat the underside of the body assembly in a heat-cured polyurea, as well as the inside back wall of the cabin and floor. Then comes Dynamat. We use copious amounts of Dynamat, coating the headliner, the inside of the doors, and again the rear of the cab and the floor. The floor also has pretty intelligent heat shielding on the underside of the body to really keep the interior temperature where it should be. If you don't do that on a truck like this, it just cooks your ass. So the Dynamat really makes a huge difference too. It just more like a modern car, you know, no wind noise, and just really keeps everything nice and quiet, so you can hear the obnoxious exhaust. Speaking of exhaust, let's talk about mechanical. Mechanically, we are running a General Motors E-Rod. This is the LM4, the 5.3 smaller displacement motor. So that's an emission certified engine. Now, I always get guys emailing me or commenting on YouTube, why would you guys put cats on that? Why not? It's not like the 80s where the cats wear out in a hurry and smother all your performance. And it's not like the 80s where you've got air rail and a smog pump and EGR and all that peripheral crap. GM's gotten so good at it that it's the catalytic converters, pre-cat, post-cat O2s, and a charcoal canister vent system. That's it. So why the hell not? Truck stinks less, it's better for the environment, and it's fast as hell. To make sure it's fast as hell, we integrated Magnuson air-to-water intercooled supercharger. So this truck's a bit of a beast. You keep your foot out of it, fine. You stomp it, and it is gone. I'd say this truck's probably dynoing at the wheels about 440 horse. Whatever exactly it is, if it had one more horsepower, it would not hook up. As it is, you got a lot of power and limited weight in the rear. So one thing we did to offset that is build the stainless fuel tank with the in-tank pump and sump and fit it underneath the bed. That helps with the weight balance. So now you can stomp the truck pretty good. For transmission, we're running the General Motors 4L65E with their control pack, again from the E-Rod family of products, good stuff. For exhaust, we hand build our own system. We're running dual MagnaFlow mufflers, and then 3-inch system. It's TIG welded, mandrel bent, and then ceramic coated. Each one of the Thrift Masters we geek out in a different way in the bed. So this time we're running conventional style stainless runners. And then for the wood, we work with those guys, Abel and Baker, our buddies that we did that VW 67 bus derelict with. And we used old growth quarter sawn white oak, one of my favorites, kind of a very traditional American furniture maker favorite wood. It's a beautiful tone. And then that is finished in a new product that's intended for predominantly marine applications, but it gives us a nice matte finish on the hardwood, and that's finished 360 degrees for durability. So really happy with that. It's a cool look. I think on the next truck we're trying koa wood because the truck's going to live in Hawaii. Oh, I almost forgot. For the carpet, we're running the German Haargarten Squareweave. It's very good. It's like you see in vintage, I don't know, Mercedes and Porsche applications. But it's a full loop carpet, doesn't pick, doesn't run, really durable, all organic fibers. And then we do that 2 layers. So you have the bottom fixed carpet, which is hemmed in the bison hide, and then you also have a bison hemmed removable floor mat. And then that floor mat we line in Dynamat for a little extra insulation. So I don't know. I could talk all day about these trucks, but you're probably bored by now if you're still with me as it is anyway. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to follow my brand, support us, watch these crappy videos. Getting a little better though, right? So any further questions, call us, 818-280-3333. Email us, jw@icon4x4.com. Certainly visit our new and improved website. I just launched it at icon4x4.com. And follow my antics on Facebook at Jonathan Ward, Instagram, icon4x4. And that's all I got. So thanks again. I really appreciate it. See ya.
Craig, you available? Line 3, it sounds like Jennifer.
Yeah.